it's April, and I wanted to give you some contemporary recommendations because I can do that. You're welcome. Now, I will preface this video by saying that this list is probably going to be fairly short because contemporary isn't my go-to genre to read, and you will notice a pattern in the contemporary books that I am about to show you. But I also want this to be a conversation, so if you can think of any books that I would like in the contemporary genre, tell me down below because I will take your recommendations. Trust me. Trust me, I will. This video was inspired by Monthly Recommendations Group because this month's topic is, of course, contemporary reads. So I will leave all the information down below in case you want to join the group or if you just want to find more contemporary recommendations because there's gonna be a lot of them. So I'm going to start off this list with a fairly popular book on this platform. Yeah, you've probably seen it a lot before, and that is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. This is the story of Kath, who goes off to college and starts to experience what it is to be a young adult. Now, Kath has a twin sister, and so she's learning to separate herself from her sister, but Kath is also a very avid fanfic writer for Simon Snow. I enjoyed this book so much, mainly because it paralleled a lot of my own college experience, because I was that introvert who would just hang out and be on the internet and read fanfic and write fanfic. I think that's why I connected to this story so well. I feel like Rainbow Rowell captured my essence in all of this. And the fangirl in me was just drawn to the story because I can relate to it so well. But this is just a story of Kath finding herself and learning what it is to be out in the world and maybe separating herself a little bit from the computer. And in the same veins as Fangirl, I have to bring up Kindred Spirit by Rainbow Rowell. This is a short little story. It is absolutely amazing. This is the story of Elena, who goes and stands in line for the new Star Wars movie. It's everything that is me. Once again, I think Rainbow Rowell just gets me on a large scope. And just Elena making friends with people in line and experiencing that excitement for a new movie and just life. It's great. I love it. The geek in me is super, super into this story, like a lot. And still, I'm gonna go on with this fangirl kind of trope, and I'm gonna bring up Geekerella by Ashley Poston. This is a newer release that I just picked up and I flew through and absolutely adored completely, because not only does it call to the fangirl in me, but it also calls to the fairy tale lover, because this is a Cinderella retelling, which is magical in so many different ways. This is the story of Elle, who is a fanatic about Starfield. Her father started the Starfield convention, and so she has been indoctrinated into this whole fandom so much, and they've decided to make a new movie remake of the series, and the boy who is cast for the lead role is more of a pretty boy in Elle's opinion than an actual legitimate choice for the role. So she goes on a tirade on her blog, and then things just fall out from there. You get to see this Starfield convention, you get to see all of this fandom evolve and the making of this movie and just the trivial knowledge in the community and everything. I loved it. I loved it because, once again, I relate to this story so very much. So if you haven't figured out who I am by the first 3 books that I recommended, I am a hardcore fangirl at heart. I can fangirl about several different things. I won't go into them here, but this is a thing. Now I'm gonna break out of that fandom, fangirling, fanaticism just a little bit, and I'm gonna bring up You by Caroline Kepnes. This is a thriller novel about I guess you can call him a stalker, and you're basically hearing the story from his perspective as he finds his next victim and how he just indoctrinates himself into her life, and it just all goes down from there. It's really creepy in an aspect where you know the thought process is just completely wrong, but then you start to sympathize because you're in his head and you're hearing all of the logic, and you start to fall into this trap of, oh, this makes sense. This makes sense. Wait, this is not a good way to be thinking. It gives me goosebumps in a lot of aspects, but I will warn you that it is an adult read, so it can be rather crude in points, which is really uncomfortable, especially because you're inside this disturbed mind. And something about it was so captivating that I couldn't put it down. I had to know more, and at the end I was left just staring, because that just happened. And lastly, this is probably one of my favorites from last year, and I know a lot of other people probably don't feel this way about this book because it's kind of weird at points too. I like weird. I just like weird. And that is The Circle by Dave Eggers. I just like some of the things it's trying to say about where social media and all of this interconnectedness may be taking us, and how it's slowly changing the way we're thinking and how we're interacting with the world. It's the story of May, who goes to work at this place called The Circle, which has a very large foot in the social media realm and the data mining and all of that infrastructure. And you get to see how May starts her journey into this company and how all of this technology is changing and warping and becoming something else entirely. It's fascinating to watch, and because I am on a social media platform such as YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and all of that, some of the concepts I got, which started to get a little weird, and I'm like, oh, okay, that could possibly, oh, yeah. So that was a thing. Now, I do like the book more than I like the movie, but I can say that about a lot of things. And I know this book isn't for everyone because it's just not. But I am a tech geek, and I deal a lot with social media, so this just said some words to me that made me just stop and think about things. There were things. So those were my contemporary read recommendations. Like I said, I would love to hear some recommendations from you guys. So if you could tell me down below what you recommend for my face, I would love that. And I heart your beautiful faces. Bye.